Over 350 contributors, reflecting more than 150 countries and territories. World Report with Guillermo Arduino starts now.
Welcome to this edition of World Report. We have stories from 8 countries on 4 continents today. And we begin in Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. The problems there are well documented, we all know that. But what you don't know is that in the last 18 months there is at least a glimmer of hope on the horizon, and it's being driven by youngsters in some of the most troubled Haitian neighborhoods. Here's Amelia Shaw of UNTV with details.
Developing countries are increasingly helping each other, and in this story we'll see a partnership between Haiti and Brazil. Both countries have a long history of gang warfare, so when Brazilian NGO Viva Rio first arrived in this Port-au-Prince neighborhood, people couldn't even walk in the streets, it was so violent. But in May of 2007, Viva Rio helped to get 11 gangs sign peace accords, and so far it's held. The NGO believes that culture is a good way to integrate communities. So in this story, we'll see how this innovative group from Rio de Janeiro is using Brazilian martial arts to promote peace. Here in Haiti, it's time to play capoeira, a martial art from Brazil. It's being taught to these kids in the slum of Bel Air in Port-au-Prince as a way to rebuild a neighborhood broken down by armed gangs. Viva Rio, the Brazilian NGO running the project, says teaching kids capoeira builds peace, even if they're spending the afternoon learning how to fight.
But it is a different sort of fight. Before, capoeira was used by slaves to fight for their freedom. Now we are fighting to liberate the human spirit so we can develop ourselves.
The fact that Viva Rio is even working in this neighborhood is in itself quite remarkable. Just a few years ago, I couldn't even be standing here without wearing a bulletproof vest. But in the last 18 months, a lot has changed. Viva Rio used its experience working in the violent slums of Brazil to forge peace accords among gang leaders in Haiti. For every month of peace, the NGO awards educational scholarships to 3 children in each of 4 gang territories. And since 2004, more than 9,000 UN peacekeeping troops have provided security backup. Their presence fills in for a weak Haitian police force. UN military operations have succeeded in breaking up many gang networks. Consequently, kidnapping and armed conflicts have markedly decreased. But the 2007 peace accords signal the community's buy-in to the peace process. Project manager Roberto Martinez says the capoeira classes are an important part of reintegrating a still fractured community.
The project supports the peace accords between community leaders. It helps to avoid conflicts between the gangs in the different neighborhoods of Bel Air. The goal is to keep schools open, traffic moving, and hospitals running. Just keep the neighborhood accessible.
The weekly classes bring together more than 200 kids from conflict zones to learn capoeira and stay out of trouble. Not only do kids make new friends and build up community partnerships, but they also find an alternative to crime.
Capoeira is fun. It gives us something to do, and violence seems to be happening less. Young people choose to do this program, and they don't participate in violence so much anymore.
Viva Rio hopes that, through cultural development, peace can take root in a neighborhood that was once at war. Their innovative approach teaches kids not just to fight, but to believe in a better future. With UN Television, I'm Amelia Shaw for the CNN World Report.
That is a great idea, using a Brazilian art form to keep rival gangs in Haiti at peace. Well, another unusual solution comes from Canadian forces serving in Afghanistan, trading tanks for something simpler. The CBC's David Common explains.
Canadian troops in Afghanistan have the best and latest in weapons and transportation, a war machine worth billions of dollars. And now, they're expanding their options with something decidedly more low-tech.
I could tell you everything about donkeys, because it's my idea.
Oh yes, Canada's top soldier here is ordering up donkeys.
Yes, well in fact what happens in the summertime is when the soldiers go on dismounted operations is they have they have a hell of a time carrying enough water to hydrate during the 50-degree temperatures.
There are plenty of donkeys in Afghanistan, but many aren't very healthy, not quite up to military specs. So Canada is looking in several countries for donkeys and plans to fly in up to 30 of the creatures. Major Charles Jensen is the man coordinating this most unusual order, a man who's taking a lot of ribbon.
Well, certainly a lot of snickers. I mean, it's usually the first response you get into it. But I usually want to start talking to them about the rationale why we chose to do this particular type of solution. They started to really realize, you know, we hit on a very unique answer to a very difficult problem.
The donkey trains are headed for combat operations, particularly with soldiers in an ongoing firefight, when hulking vehicles close to them would be simply too dangerous. That does mean the donkeys will be in harm's way.
We know that both the British forces, the American forces, and certainly the Dutch are looking at this as well.
General Thompson, though, won't see the donkeys before his time here is up.
It'll be my successor that gets to enjoy the fruits of our donkey labor.
The animal army will be in service by summer. David Commons, CBC News, Kandahar.
Sometimes simpler is better indeed. Now, this year marks the 30th anniversary of the peace accord between Israel and Egypt. To celebrate the occasion, thousands of people from all over the world gathered at the most famous Egyptian symbol.
The Pyramids of Giza, burial places of Egypt's ancient pharaoh kings and the country's main tourist attractions. The Giza Plateau, from where the pyramids tower over the sprawling metropolis below, was the chosen venue for the so-called Circle of Peace, a human chain formed by foreign and Egyptian students to celebrate cultural diversity.
We're celebrating peace, and I think that peace is an amazing thing.
And what you're doing here today should be a role model to everyone in the world that should do the same with peace and harmony.
Over 1,200 students, their parents and teachers joined hands around the largest of the three great pyramids, the tomb of Khufu, sending a message of unity, tolerance and understanding between peoples.
I hope it'll reach everywhere across the globe, all the countries in the world, because peace is important, and everybody needs to know that. They need to know that we're all putting our effort in, and they should put their effort in. If everybody tries their best, they'll end up having peace all over the world.
The students from 53 countries urged their governments to choose peace over conflict and hatred. They acknowledged that peace and stability are vital for societies to develop and prosper.
The world is a wonderful place, and we should treat it well, and we should have peace within it.
Although peace was the buzzword in as many different languages as the countries represented,
和平 for vrede,
voor die vrij,
por la paz, للسلام.
peace.
some students took the opportunity to send their own personal messages.
Hi, Grandma.
Waving cheerfully to the army helicopters hovering overhead, the students sang along with popular singer Hisham Abbas, whose Song of Peace was written specially for the occasion.
We have the power to turn the world around, they sing, and they do, because these children are the future leaders of tomorrow, and their message of peace brings a promise for a better tomorrow for them and the rest of the world. Shahira Amin, Nile TV International, the Giza Pyramids.
On a side note, did you know that the Great Pyramid of Giza is the only remaining member in its entirety of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? Interesting and true. Up next.
The situation here at the beginning, it was quite real bad.
We travel to Zimbabwe to get an update on one of Africa's deadliest cholera outbreaks in over a decade. And unlikely people pair up to raise AIDS awareness in China. We'll have details in just a couple of minutes.